Hi, my name's Andrew Stevenson and I'm the creator of AlphaTrees. In this tutorial I'm going to go over four main areas. Firstly, the installation of the add-on, then generating trees using the add-on, then importing the trees you've generated, and finally scattering those trees over a mesh. To start, importing. First, download the two zip files from the market page and place them in the desired directory. The file called AlphaTrees install is the add-on file and should not be extracted. The other file, however, called AlphaTrees library extract is the external library of ready-made trees and biomes and should be extracted to the current directory. Now, in Blender, we can install the add-on. Go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and then Install, and select the add-on zip file. It should now be installed, but before it can work, you need to select a library directory. This is where the generated tree images, biomes, and presets will be saved. In our case, we can use the folder we extracted earlier, which will also let us instantly use the trees and biomes in the 3D viewport. If you want to create a new library, however, you can just create the new folder and select it instead. Once this is done, the add-on is set up and ready to use, which leads us to the next part, generating tree cards with the add-on. First, we will need a 3D tree model to use. This is one from the Botanique asset library, which I would highly recommend, but any tree model should work, as long as it meets these two criteria. Firstly, the tree should be a single object, with no particle systems or object instances on it. Secondly, the origin point should be at the base of the trunk, as this is used to center the tree when it's being rendered. To start, open the AlphaTrees panel in the viewport, and from the Tree Object dropdown, select the tree you want to render. The section below this lets you select the type of each material on the tree. These are used to separate different parts of the mesh during the rendering process, and are selected automatically when a tree object is chosen. In general, they're correct about 90% of the time, but it's always a good idea to check them before rendering. There are 5 material types in total: trunk, branch, leaves, fruit, and flowers. Below that are the render settings. Generally, the default values of these are fine, but the ones to look out for are resolution and samples. Higher resolutions will result in more detailed trees, but will also use more memory when they are imported. Samples is the most important setting, as the add-on makes use of denoising, so it's very easy to use too many samples and slow down the rendering process. I find that 15 is good for most trees, with the upper limit being around 50. Any more than that is overkill. Now all the settings are done, but before we save the tree, we can click the folder icon to open the library folder where the images will be saved. On Windows, you can also open the console to get updates during the rendering. Now we can click Bake Maps to begin the rendering process, which usually takes around 1 to 2 minutes per tree, depending on your settings. The viewport will freeze while the add-on is working, but you can monitor the progress by looking in the library folder. When this process is finished, you should have 5 images that look like this. Now, to use this tree in our scene, we have to import it. To do this, go to the panel marked Biomes and change the mode from Particle to Object. To import our tree, we first need to select it from the menu. If it doesn't show up, click the refresh button at the bottom right to reload the previews. From there, we can just click Import and the tree card is placed in our scene at the mouse cursor. If you want to import multiple trees at a time, you can click the Multi-Import button at the bottom right of the tree menu. This brings up a box where you can select all the trees you want to import. These will then be imported automatically when you hit OK. To change the appearance of the tree card, we can open the Material panel below the Import button. Here we can change almost any aspect of the tree's looks, such as colour, translucency, the amount of snow, or even the number of leaves. But one tree on its own isn't much use, so next, let's see how to scatter these trees across a mesh. First, select the mesh you want to create a forest on, and change the mode from Object back to Particle. This shows the biome list. Biomes are groups of trees which make it easy to organize a scene and control multiple trees at once. To add a biome, first click the little plus button at the top right to create a biome slot. Then click New Settings to add some new biome settings. These act much like materials, as they can be used in multiple biome slots on multiple objects at the same time. Then, to add a tree to our biome, we can click the plus button next to the tree list at the bottom, and then select a tree from the menu. The same material settings as before are present here. To control the particle settings, you can change the values in the Settings tab for things like the seed, the scale, randomization, and even camera tracking. To control the density and height of the trees, open the Density tab and click Add Group. This brings up a menu that can be used to add advanced procedural weight maps and layers, but for now we can leave it at the defaults to add a simple paint group. More trees can then be added to create a realistic forest. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this useful.